She tried. That probably is exactly the situation. All right, so John Phillips, August 8, 2020, 7:06 p.m., sitting here with...
Patricia Farr-Payne.
Patricia, can I call you Patricia?
Trish.
Trish, that's right. Let me ask you this, and I'm not a notary, I'm not a judge, but do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You're going to swear yourself in?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so we're nothing but the truth today.
Nothing but the truth.
No agenda, no revenge.
Nope.
Just helping a family get justice with the truth. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay. So that gets into the main question I really want to know about, and we can talk all night, but when did you first hear that Don was missing, going to be missing, anything related to him, his disappearance?
The Sunday on the 17th, Sunday, Kenny had been home that day. He worked every day. He worked 7 days a week, all the time. So it was odd for him to be home, first of all. Second of all, it just, the way things played out, I'll never forget that day because it's just the weirdest day.
Right.
He left he got a phone call. He was in the bedroom. He came down the hallway and like he was expecting a call, and the phone started ringing. He grabbed the phone. He went out the back door. And when he went out the back door, I was just like, whatever, I'm trying to get the kids something to eat. And I hear somebody out front. And the way the house sat kind of low down and the road was like up. It was elevated up to where you had to kind of like look like that. And I seen Mexican Mike, his buddy Mexican Mike was up there. And he was coming in the back door, and I said, hey, Mexican Mike's out front. So he went straight out the front door, was out there for a minute, came back in. He said, I'll be back later. He left. That was probably 1 o'clock, around early afternoon. And he didn't come back to that night, probably 11, 12 o'clock. It was late. And he had Don's van. He backed it in the driveway. And I opened the door, and I was like, what the hell's going on? And he's like, hold on a second, I need you to help me. And he got out, he opened the back of the van, and there were so many guns. It was just guns and mounds of guns. 5 guns, 10 guns, 50 guns? No, there was at least 50.
Okay.
And he said, help me carry these in. And I was like, whoa, we have kids in the house.
Right.
What are you doing with all these? And he's like, listen, he said, I'm holding for Carole. Don's gone. Nobody knows where he's at. He said, I don't know if you're talking about Don, anything. And I'm just like, he said, let's get these in the house. So we took them in, put them in the bedroom, under the bed, in the closet, wherever we could find any place in our room to put the guns.
Come out. Chronister. Probably.
Yeah.
Probably out to see where the fish are biting for.
Chad with his new podcast.
So I had to pick up Carole. See, she's late on hers.
You might have to back up a little bit, I think.
So 5 guns, 10 guns, 50 guns.
More than 50.
Okay.
So we got him in the house, and he goes and lays down, and I'm just like sitting there like, wow. I'm really worried about the guns, because now I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? He leaves with this guy, and then he comes back. He has all these guns, and Don's truck. His truck's nowhere to be. I don't even know where his truck was. Didn't even ask. But I got up the next morning. He was already gone. He was long gone. His coffee pot was not even warm. And he came back that night, probably around 8, 9 o'clock at night.
That had been Monday?
That was Monday night, the 18th. And he said, hey, what I told you last night about Don, that still stands. He goes, I don't want you talking to anybody. Our phones could be tapped. He said, Don is gone and nobody knows where he's at. Do not speak about Don. Anybody calls and asks you anything, just hang up. Don't talk. He is adamant that I do not talk about Don.
How do you remember that was Sunday and Monday? Like, how are you placing that?
Because of him not working, first of all. The kids were home. They were there on the weekend. That's how I knew it was a weekend, because the kids were there.
Okay.
School, it was just at the time school was starting, and I know it was. And then as the week when it goes on, he's not saying nothing else about Dawn, And I'm not asking, because to me, it didn't matter to me. Dawn wasn't my boss, and how do I know that Kenny's not just bullshitting me,
Right.
just trying to say some crazy story. So, like I said, a few days go by, and then I was washing dishes, and I hear the news, and it's like Tampa, self-made millionaire Jack Donald Lewis has been missing since Tuesday. I think it seems like they said Tuesday, but it could have been Monday. But either way, I was like, whoa, how did I know he was gone on Sunday? And they're saying Monday's the last time they seen him.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, I could have just threw up. I was like, oh my God.
You knew something
It was
that
just like
somebody else didn't
everything
know.
flashing. It was like the guns, the van.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God.
Had you stored, or Kenny stored the guns before?
No.
Okay. But he had the van before?
Yeah,
Okay.
it wasn't uncommon for him to drive one of Dawn's vehicles.
Okay. And there's some question of whether I think Mexican Mike was in jail or not at that time. Are you sure about which Mike it was or who it was?
Well, I don't know what the outcome was on all that.
Yeah.
But like I had told Ripper, this guy could have been like this one twin, because there was like a couple of Mexican Mikes or something, wasn't there? Did you find out there was like two different ones or a couple different ones?
There's a couple Mikes, I know.
There's a couple of mics, but Danny also said that in an email, he said that Michael Stipp could have been Mexican Mike.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. We talked about that. And memory from 23 years ago is imprecise, but sometimes things stick. And I think there's a different date about when the first press conference was, or the first media report, I guess.
And like I said, I know it was later, down
time.
a few days.
But you're certain it was Sunday with him disappearing?
100%.
Because I think Carole last said it was Monday when she saw him at 3 a.m., 4 a.m.
I would put my life on it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know it was on Sunday.
Okay.
And I have a pretty good memory.
Yeah.
I mean, I can remember stealing my brother's baby bottle when he was 16, 17 months old.
Okay.
Getting under the bed and sucking it.
And I watched the video, and you'd reel off addresses like it was yesterday.
And so that's why, back then, things, when they started getting really bad, I wrote all this out for my sister that she's already passed away, but I told her, Dawn, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. And if anything happens to me,
right,
you go to the sheriff's office.
Do you still have those writings?
No.
Okay. But so in the legal world, did you review them at some point? Did you look back at your writings, or you just remember what you wrote?
No, I haven't seen them since I gave them to her.
Okay, fair enough. All right, and obviously the other big question I have, so what we're intending to do, what we've already done actually Friday, is file not a lawsuit for damages, but a lawsuit for information against Kenny. Nobody knows that yet, but it's true. And one of the big issues that I have was possibly him knowing about the disappearance before the disappearance is alleged to have occurred. Big deal.
Yeah.
But you're not saying that out of revenge. You're saying that because that's what you remember. Okay.
I want there's no revenge to get. I'm not out for revenge from anybody.
Fair.
I don't hate anybody. I may dislike some people.
Yeah.
But revenge is I have too many things going on in my life to be worried about getting revenge on somebody.
Fair enough. Especially this long, complicated way.
Know,
But I the next thing is any mention of a meat grinder or chopping up a body, for crying out loud. Tell me about everything you know about any mention of that.
When Kenny, he had me down one time, and I was trying to leave, and he just got crazy. Like he was never in trouble for anything. It's just like when Don disappeared, he started getting in trouble, arrested, and it was somebody I didn't even know who this person was. And so when I was trying to leave, he had me down one time, and he told me, he's like, if you try to leave me again, I'm going to put you in the grinder just like I did Don. Don't you forget that. He's starting to go dig up my grandmother's body and throw it in my mom's yard, kill my mom. It just went on. Whatever he thought he could do to control me, or it just was. I mean, he took the CV axles out of my vehicle so I couldn't go anywhere. Yeah. Kept me locked in.
That just seems like, I mean, threatening to kill somebody's mom's pretty morose, but it seems like chopping somebody up in a meat grinder is pretty specific.
Yeah. I mean, who comes up with something like that? Yeah. Especially whenever this wasn't long after Don disappeared.
How long after?
Within a year.
Okay. What do you know anything about the quantity and quality of meat grinders that they had? Do you know?
Yeah, I just know they had some big ones that they pulled around behind a golf cart.
Okay, that probably gotten care of a body. Depends on how you chopped it up. But do you think the Kenny Farr that had the capacity to meat grind Don Lewis?
The Kenny Farr that I knew didn't have the capacity to do half the things he did to me until Don disappeared.
Okay.
So, like I said, that was a person I didn't even know.
Why the change? I mean, why do you think he changed?
I think he changed because he had something to do with Don, and it's just it changed him. Whatever happened, whatever he's involved in, and I put my life on it, he's involved. It changed him, and not for the good. I mean, he didn't even smoke cigarettes. He went to jail for trafficking methamphetamines.
How long after this?
3 years, 4 years. I think is when the first arrest came for the meth.
I mean, I've never met the guy. I saw him.
Oh well, he'll make you think that he's the nicest guy in the world.
That's what I was going to ask.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I saw all of 60 seconds on a Netflix documentary.
Yeah, Rebecca Ford.
Yeah, you can't trust that because those producers they edit stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Those New Yorkers, they're untrustworthy.
But I've heard it from other people too, though, that if you meet him,
George Fernandez, he'll be one that if you ever talk to him,
it's it. You meet him and think that he's your best friend.
In 5 minutes, he can make you think that he would never harm a fly.
Is he a hustler?
I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, I would constitute, scrappers and people that sell things that they're pickers. I can't, there's a level of hustle to that I appreciate.
He's got a gift of gab. You know what I'm saying? And it works for him.
Is he? Let me ask this. This is kind of a weird question. That's what I do, though. Is he religious at all? Let me ask. Okay.
So you can't take an oath that he is.
Would an oath mean anything to him? You swear to tell the truth.
To him?
Yeah.
He will make himself believe whatever he has to make himself believe. So no. An oath is not going to mean anything to him.
Survival over honesty. Is that right?
Yep.
Does an oath mean something to you?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's the way it is. You tell the truth. If you tell the truth, you don't have to worry about covering up a lie. You have down the road, 23 years down the road.
Right.
Here it is. You thought this was all gone, and then boom, here it's back.
Mama used
now
to
you
say,
got to remember what happened.
My mama used to say, honesty is contemporaneous. It happens in the now. So is Kenny still? I mean, I know you probably don't. When was the last time you spoke with him?
Well, I talked to his voicemail, but that didn't do any good.
When was the last time you saw him?
I haven't spoke to him. I haven't seen Kenny in probably 7 or 8 years.
Okay. So I got to depose him at some point. What should I ask him?
I guess you could ask him questions that he would know about, Ask him how many children he has, just kind of see, how his body language is. See if he changes and see, which way if you're kind of hitting a nerve. He's got 2 sons and he's got a daughter.
Yeah, but where's the nerve? What?
If he even has it.
Yeah.
If he has no compassion, he could just be sitting here just like us.
Do you think he loved Don Lewis?
No.
I mean, his friends love each other,
No,
not?
I don't think that Kenny loves anybody, not even his children.
That's unfortunate. Carole Baskin. I asked the question, what's his relationship like with her? But is there anything that they might have had going on the side?
I think so.
Okay.
A lot of people do.
Tell me about that.
Because he was didn't matter what time Carole called. He was on the phone or gone. Didn't matter. So then, as like 1 year goes into 2, I'm like, this is not right. My mom said, there's something going on with those 2. So she called one day and I asked her straight up. I said, hey, you and Kenny got something going on? I don't care. I just want to know because, there's no need. I don't need to be here and be tormented. And she's like, oh, don't be silly. But she never said yes or no.
This was after Don's death?
After, yep.
What happened after you asked her that?
Yeah, a couple weeks after that, I was at home in Plant City, and easy streets all the way in Citrus Park.
Yeah.
I'm home, locked in as usual, and I hear my dog raising hell outside. So I go open the front door, and about that time, a wail, and I open the door, and this older man is trying to cross my fence, and my dog latched onto his ass. And I was like, what the hell? And I yelled for her to get off. He's like, your dog is crazy. I'm like, who are you? And he's like, I'm Carole's dad. I'm Vernon Stairs. And I said, what are you doing? He said, I brought something for Kenny. He said, you have to do something with that dog. And I'm like, yeah, you're coming in her yard. You're crossing a fence.
Right.
And then there you go, the sheriff's office. I got a ticket for that. And I had to go to court. That I didn't go to, but it says on the log that I went. But
So you got a ticket because Vernon went onto your property and he got bit by your dog.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Kenny wasn't home,
And
right?
Kenny wasn't home. He was in Citrus Park working. And he never gave me nothing for Kenny. I really, truly believe he was coming to do something to me that day.
Tell me about Vernon.
I had never met him before.
Okay,
Then.
that was the first time you'd ever met him.
I didn't know who he was. So I asked him, who are you?
So I got to sit down like this, whether at a deposition table with us all with suits on or, maybe less formally with Carole Baskin. Is she going to tell me the truth?
She couldn't tell you what her name is, if that's the truth. Oh, my God. I've never met somebody that lies and lies about the lies that she lied about. She's told so many lies, she doesn't know what the form of truth is.
Yeah.
And that's Kenny. Her and Kenny are just alike in that aspect.
How much?
Because he will make himself believe whatever he needs to believe.
How am I supposed to get answers if I'm surrounded by so many liars?
Something's going to happen. I truly believe that God has not brought us this far without something going to break somewhere.
I think, Ripper, you got some questions about that.
How often did Kenny and Carole hang out before Dawn went missing?
Never. Never. That I know of. She never, ever called for him.
Because Kenny worked for Don.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of a fixer, kind of, do whatever.
Right. That's, and then, and I didn't even know that Kenny had went to Dawn's office and with Carole and got all the documents, or the whole office trailer, I think is what they took, didn't they? The whole office trailer.
They moved it.
And I never knew that until Tiger King. I mean, that...
And you were married to him for 3 years.
Well, we were together
After
from
that
93 to 2000. But
Right.
at that
So-
time, 4 years.
So 1997,
Yeah.
they move it.
Had
She's
no
with him
clue.
for 3 more years. Never knows.
Still never knew. Until Tiger King. And then he was like, when he was talking about cutting the electric, and I was like, Whoa, they didn't just steal the documents, they took the whole trailer.
Right.
What about the box of?
The banker's box of titles that Kenny had and deeds and stuff, yeah.
And which again begs the question: if Don's coming back, but you were told he wasn't coming back, that
They don't know where he's
they
at.
don't know where he is. But I don't understand why you don't be patient and deal with all that stuff when he gets back. If he's coming back.
Oh my God, Don would have blown his ears off when he had seen his office trailer gone.
Why?
Because that's his whole livelihood was in that office trailer. And who are they to come and take his office trailer?
Right.
You know, if he's out of town, they don't come and take it. If he's just gone to Costa Rica, they don't come and take it.
Did Kenny say anything to you about any, and I don't know that he would, but any issues or any threats or any problems that Kenny and that Carole and Don were having? Mm-mm. You weren't privy, okay.
Did Kenny help Don with property management?
He would drop off eviction notices, and that would be about it.
Did he do like the books or
No.
like he didn't manage
No.
properties or anything like that?
No. He barely can add.
Why don't you tell him about the properties that
Before
Kenny
we
got?
get that, I want to ask this question, and
Okay.
it sounds like a question I asked, but I think it's a little different. How big was Kenny? Like, what size was Kenny?
Kenny is 5'8" or 5'9". Probably. He's about an inch taller than me.
Okay. Strong guy, weak guy?
He's strong. He's
Okay.
a pretty strong guy. He was a pretty strong guy.
And
You got to think, Kenny was in his 20s, his late 20s when all this happened.
okay, fair enough. And I don't care about, I mean, that was kind of physical capability, but is there a question in your mind, or can you give me any insight as to whether Kenny Farr was emotionally capable to chop up a body in a meat grinder?
I think that Kenny was probably emotionally able to do anything.
Okay. Is there?
If you can threaten to kill your own kid and make somebody watch you do it and then kill them, you can do anything.
That's a good point. Any relationship of money that traveled from Don's estate or Carole to Kenny after this?
1 month to the day, I believe it was, Kenny got his first 3 properties.
Free and clear?
Well, for the sum of like $9,000.
Yeah.
But then there was a house or 2 that he got with no paperwork, no nothing.
Why?
Because he's such a hard worker.
I mean, you were still with him at that time.
Yeah,
Was
and I
it?
asked.
And did he?
It's none of my business.
Okay.
Don't ask questions you don't want the answers to. It's none of your business. I'm the one taking care of this. Just, and like I said, steadily, he's getting worse. He's getting worse. He's getting more physical, getting abusive to me, to the kids. It was like watching, how when somebody gets Alzheimer's, and progressively they get worse and worse and worse, and they don't know you. It was just the opposite. This person got worse and worse and worse, and I didn't know them. And when I say that, I mean that. When I left it, there was no emotion, there was no attachment, there was nothing. I begged I hate to even say this, but I would go to bed sometimes and, please, God, just let him get killed before he gets home. I would rather him die than me have to deal with his shit tonight. Or for him to come home and take it out on me and the kids. And I did. I hate to say it, but it's the truth. I did do that.
Sorry. Get back into the deeds. What were we talking about?
Do you know what she's talking about when she's talking about Kenny threatening to kill the kids?
I don't.
Do you want to tell him? So he has an idea.
Yeah,
of
I
what-
just
Yeah, well, the last time we got into an argument, and he came in the house, and he is just blowing up. I mean, this has been like 2 or 3 times in 1 month, within a 2-week period, I believe. And I seen it. I grabbed the house phone, obsolete now, and I dialed 911. And as soon as I did, he jerked the phone out of the wall. And just in one swipe, he grabbed the girls, and he had a pistol, and he held it like that. He said, "You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to kill them. Then I'm going to make you watch. Then I'm going to kill you. Then I'm going to kill myself. That's what you want? Is that what you want?" And I said, "Kenny, I don't know. I've never in my life seen any kind of response this quick. They must have been right at the store at Circle K, which I could see it from my house. I could see the blue lights coming into the driveway. And he was standing facing me, and I could see the lights reflect out of the gun cabinets. And I said, "The police are here." And he dropped the girls down, and he hauled ass out the back door. I didn't see him again for years.
At that point in Kenny's life, do you think he was bluffing? Do you think he had the capacity to do it? Okay.
He pulled a gun on me in Kentucky. He beat me to Kentucky. It tried to make me go to come back home. You know, and the state police in Kentucky escorted him to the Tennessee state line. My sister called the cops. She said, "Listen, you better get here before somebody dies. My sister's out here. Her husband's got a gun on her. My other sister's got a gun on him. You need to get out of here."
What about the time he knocked your teeth out?
Yeah, I mean, I have dentures because of Kenny. Hit me in the face with the Michelob Light bottle. You know, chasing me, hitting me in the back. This is around the time that I had confronted Carole. It was not long after that this happened. You know, and there's so much stuff. It just goes on and
What's he doing now? As far as you know.
Trucking with his brother. I don't know if he's being the setting up the loads and stuff. I don't know how it's. My daughter was trying to find out, but she's just like she don't have anything to do with her dad that much. I mean, she probably hasn't seen him her daughter turned 6 today. I think she's seen him since her daughter was born.
What do I need to know? What do I need to know to help Don Lewis's family get justice?
Need to know that you're dealing with 2 people that probably already committed murder once.
It's insinuating they do it again.
Wouldn't shock me. Who's to say they haven't?
And those 2 people you're referring to are Carole and Kenny?
Yep. And if I had to guess, they probably had at least another 1 or 2 with them. And I would say that it was probably her dad. Dead men don't tell tales, so, or so they say. And the other one very well could have been Michael Stipp.
What do you know about Michael Stipp?
How crazy is that? That would work with his niece.
Tell me about that. What do you mean?
Well, before we go there,
Okay.
let's talk about how Carole talked about Michael Stipp and his deathbed confession.
He didn't die for years after that.
I know, but
she tells the truth.
It's on her website where she says that Michael Stipp went to the police and confessed that him and Danny.
It's in one of her diaries.
Yeah, that him and Danny killed Dawn and buried the body. And, you know, the police looked into it. They went and talked to Gladys, and Gladys had paperwork that showed that Danny was in a rehab facility
in
the
Avon
weekend
Park.
that Dawn went missing. So they just dropped it right there, and like, there's nothing to it. He was in a rehab facility. He couldn't have done it. So that's the story from, I think, 2001?
Yeah, 2001. Michael Stipp died in 2007 or 8.
2007.
So it was a long deathbed confession, for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
That name is just odd. I've never really heard it before. So I'm at work one day, and it just kind of dinged on me. It's like, wait a minute. And the girl, our compliance manager, about to come around, and I said, "Melissa, do you have an uncle named Michael?" And she's like, "No, but Scott does, her husband." And she said, "But he's dead. He died like 10 years ago, 13 years ago, something like that. And I was like, where did he live? She's like, in Valrico. I was like, I was afraid you were going to say that. And I was like, okay. I called Ripper. I was like, wow. Listen to this. Well, as it goes, Melissa is there.
This is my listen to this post.
Okay. Melissa says that this family has a 5-acre lot of property on Kingsway and Windhorse in Brandon. And it sits right in the center where there's a Publix on this side. It's subdivisions all the way. And it's fenced off almost like they would do a retention pond, a huge retention pond. Is the way this property is sitting. They won't sell it because the story is when the grandfather who originally owned the property passed, he told them, you cannot sell this property. There are bodies buried here. And they will not sell it. And there's old vehicles, RVs, boats, everything just sits there. And like, why is that code enforcement's not even saying anything about these vehicles, you know? It's sitting in plain view. Because the guy that is the trustee over it is he works for the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office.
Okay, so I called this Melissa person, and then I recorded the call. Do you know I recorded it?
Yeah, you told me.
Okay.
So this is Melissa who works with you.
Works with me.
Whose
Melissa's
husband's
Uncle
was Michael Stipp. Okay.
Yeah. If I don't have service, it might not play. I hope it does. If not, you might have to hotspot me. You have hotspot or not?
I don't have my phone with me, babe.
I might too.
I don't know if it's going to play. Come on already. Well, I will... What I'll do is I'm going to go up here and see if I can get... Do you have service?
Yeah.
All right.
Personal hotspot on your iPhone. John Phillips iPhone 3.
All right. And then you want to type it in?
Maybe. I got sun in my eyes.
Watch out. Don't let Daniel get you.
It changes. This is very inefficient.
In 2007.
Okay.
And I met my husband a couple months before that.
Nice J's, by the way. I didn't notice your J's.
In 2007 is when I met my husband. His name's Scott Stipp. His uncle is Michael Stipp. And when I met my husband, Michael died in like May of 2007. And I met my husband a couple months before that. Michael had just spoken about, how he had helped bury this body and he had made a lot of money off of it and everything like that. And so I didn't really think anything of it because his family's a little weird. And then, of course, I married my husband in 2008, and I started meeting his grandparents. His grandparents own a piece of property here in Brandon, Florida, which is on the outskirts of Tampa. And several times his grandfather told me, when I die, you guys can never sell this property. Y'all have to take it. There's too many bodies buried here. And then he starts naming, pointing at different spots and saying, I buried this person there, buried that person there. Michael buried Don Lewis over there. And again, I don't know who any of these people are at that point, so I just thought that they were a little crazy. Until, I worked with Trish Payne, and she had said something about, hey, you're a Stipp, do you know a Michael Stipp? And I was like, well, yeah, but he died in 2007. That was my husband's uncle. And she was like, well, he was named in the Tiger King case. And at that point, I had never seen Tiger King or anything like that. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then I guess like a week or so ago, she forwarded me an article where it said that, Michael had admitted to burying the body of Don Lewis. And that's kind of when everything kind of came together for me. And I was like, well, Granddad did say that Don Lewis was buried over there on that property. and Michael had told me and the family that, he had done that. So I started looking, and then I watched Tiger King and everything, and I just came to Trish, and I was like, oh my God, this is what happened. And that's when she said, well, you need to tell these reporters about it.
Did
Me. Not reporters.
I said you need to tell Ripper.
Did Michael tell you that directly? Did he tell you that himself?
He did. I had met him, I think it was around like March or April of 2007. That's when me and my husband had just, met and started talking and everything like that. And he, said that he came into all this money and this is how he did it. And again, I mean, I was young. I was a senior in high school at the time. I just thought that they were all crazy. But then it became weird when he apparently died of overdose in May of 2007 because he had just gotten all this money and everything like that. But, that's a whole other thing with that. But he did. And then, like I said, I met the grandparents a few months later.
Why are we sitting here? No, I'm kidding.
Granddad died 2 years ago. But, every time I would go out there, he would start talking about bodies being buried out there and everything.
That grandfather told you directly.
I'm just sitting here like,
Yeah.
Oh my
in the
gosh.
Yeah.
Have you told anyone else this information?
I haven't. I mean, me and my husband talked about it, and I talked to my husband.
You know her
my
husband's
father-in-law
military.
about
No.
this is,
He's Air Force.
your family, and he was like,
Air Force.
no, I don't.
Yes.
But I know that the person who is in control of the property right now works for the sheriff's department. Yeah.
Could it not
What
get
a
any better?
coincidence. All right.
Is it
yeah,
one of
that
those?
too, but I mean-
So a conversation that I had with Finley. So Finley is a former state attorney. He confirmed to me, and you kind of knew it, that state attorneys and law enforcement and certain people. So you go on Zillow, his house doesn't exist. You go on the tax collector, his house doesn't exist, which actually makes it a problem for them when they go to sell it because they got to create it. But
This is
this
in the
property-
father. It was in the father's name.
was it?
In the
And
grandfather's.
it's in a
Yeah.
trust.
Yeah. but
Okay, so it might exist.
It does.
I'll show you the property
Okay.
in a minute, and you're going to look at it and go, why is there 4.8 acres in the middle of a big
All this
residential
stuff.
area?
And the houses are built all the way around
How
it.
many bodies there?
It's a good question.
And it's all fenced in.
I mean, I can get a court order on that if we need to, but I mean, obviously we need to check that out.
And what would the court order allow us to do?
I mean, if I get an emergency court order, I can get whatever terms we want if we have a reasonable suspicion that there's a body, particularly a body pertaining to a case that I've just filed on it. The problem is I haven't served them yet, but this is something that I think we can go poke around, but depending upon how locked it is and what the situation is with security, you can go on a property and you're not trespassing until they tell you you're trespassing.
It's vacant. Nobody lives there.
So, I mean, we can go poke around.
I took pictures of all of it, for him, just kind of,
You've been there.
yeah. I stood in public.
What's it like? No, I don't care
Yeah,
about that.
it's
Wooded?
well, show him the pictures. He's got the pictures. I sent them to him as I took them.
When you see it, you're going to wonder
gonna be like,
why.
4 acres is pretty decent.
Yes.
I mean, it's
And it's just
decent
like
size.
sitting there. It's like, this is so odd. It's like a little, like, you would expect like a park
So-
or
so-
something to be like there.
Michael Stipp, who may be Michael that Kenny was with that day, that knew before Carole knew that that Don had disappeared, is now circled back to be bragging about and possibly receive money for burying Don Lewis.
You might have to do that again.
Yeah.
This airplane.
Well, that's just my
And circles back to me again.
yeah. Let me and that's so let me put this all wrap my head around this. So before Carole knew, as she's saying, that Don was dead, you knew Don was missing.
Yes.
You
Kenny
saw
told me
him-
He was missing.
You saw him with a guy named Michael or
Yes.
Mike,
early Sunday.
Years later, you're working, and turns out this Michael Stipp is related to somebody you're working with.
How crazy.
And I'll tell you how that came about. The second time I interviewed her, I told her that Mexican Mike was in prison or in jail.
Yeah.
So it
Mexican,
could be
and is
him.
there a Mexican Mike, or is it we call him
There
Mexican
is a-
Mike because he has a
That's-
Spanish last
No,
name?
there is a Mexican Mike, but it's not Mike Garcia.
Is it Michael Stipp?
Well, Danny said that it could be. I mean, in the email, he says he's emailing his daughter Tiffany, and he said, ask your mom about Michael Stips, or whatever, he spells the name wrong. He said that could have been Mexican Mike or something like
Because they were
that.
calling him Spitz,
Spitz,
is what they were calling him.
I mean, I see
like a
that.
slang,
Yeah,
you know.
but I mean, it doesn't. I don't know that even matters. The guy named Mike. Either way, you've identified somebody that could have been him. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
Either way, we may have a vacant lot, and even if it's a wild goose chase, there's at least somebody that died saying that Don Lewis was buried there,
Right.
Among others.
among others. And it's. I mean,
And he's connected to,
Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office.
he's
Who
connected,
didn't
Michael Stipp
investigate.
is connected
Yeah.
to Carole.
Right, for sure.
I mean, but I told her eventually, like, I was like, I think, didn't Christopher Spada send you a picture? Did he send you a picture of somebody and ask if you'd ever seen them? Did
Christopher Spada? I don't
From
know who
Tampa
that
Bay
is.
Times. Christopher from Tampa Bay Times.
You know, yeah, I think he did send me a picture, and I didn't know the person. He sent
Actually,
me the picture.
he sent it to Danny. Is who he sent it to.
He sent
That's
somebody.
who he sent it
Maybe
to.
it was Lenora sent me a picture a
Yeah.
while back, and I said, "That's not. I don't know that person."
But eventually, I told her that I think it was Michael Stipp because Danny says that, you know, it could have been whatever. And then she just happens to run into a person at her work with the last name Stipp.
Right.
And then,
And then, of course, I'm like, wait a minute.
I mean, you know, I'm trying to wrap my mind around all this.
Don't, because it's
No,
gonna hurt.
I have to. It's literally my job.
It's gonna hurt.
It's
It's like there's more twists and turns to
but
this.
you do realize within the last 30 minutes, you basically told me my life is in danger, and I may know where the body of my client's father is.
right. Yeah.
Right.
So look at the property here. I'm going to zoom in here. All right. So
Hold
this,
on. I'm still shaking that off.
all right. So this is a vacant house. Like, it's an old house there. It looks like just a bunch of junk, like old cars.
Right.
There's RV there. So you have this, there's Windhurst Road. So there's a fence that goes all the way around this, all the way down here to here, over to here, and up here. So it's just all like open area.
Nice.
But then as you zoom out, residential areas all around it. Everything's totally developed.
Except for it.
There's
I mean, you do see some old toxic sites that have a little gaps or you know, retention pond, low lying. I'm not saying that's the case here, but it's not the first time I've seen, you know, trash land in the middle of built up land, but I've never heard of that land having dead bodies in it, and that's the change in circumstances that makes me want to go out there.
And it's fenced, and code enforcement, I can't believe, have not made them move the vehicles. They're all on top of that in Hillsborough
Yeah, but can you
County.
see them?
Yeah,
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you can see them. I'll show you.
I took pictures of all of them. Because the one looks like the bounder that me and Kenny used to have.
Did you hear what she just said?
No.
The RV looks like the RV that me and Kenny used to have that disappeared.
That's why I want to go check
Oh,
the
the
VIN
VIN.
number.
You mentioned VIN numbers.
If that VIN number matches up, then that connects Kenny
to the
to Michael
property.
Stipp, to the property where Don Lewis is.
It was in Don's name, I'm sure the RV was.
But
So-
what's the official status of that? Well, it was,
It's just parked out there on this.
but it was in Don's name, but it's Kenny gave it
United
to
Truck
Kenny.
and Trailers sell. Because it was out at the lake for a long time, and then it was just gone one day. Just like Don, just like everything, it's gone.
He's under there. He's under it.
That's what I said.
He's under it. He's under his own
RV.
RV
All right.
because he loved markers, and that's his marker.
That'd be a sad joke. All right, here's the place. This is from the Publix, behind the Publix.
Okay, this is what it looks like, Ripper. We're behind the Publix. There's this fence.
Can you get into it, or does it got a fence around it?
I don't care if it's got a fence. Yeah, I can get into it. If you're asking me if I can get in there, yeah, I sure can.
Let's not do that one on camera.
There's RV right over there.
Ripper said, is there
I'm pretty sure Phillips and Ripper just hopped a fence.
is there no trespassing signs? I said, there are. I can go get them.
There's no trespass. There's not any no trespassing
see
signs.
Yeah,
out
but
there.
it's crossing a fence that creates a little bit more of a gray area.
Well, it's not illegal unless you get caught. I'm just kidding. Kind of.
I mean, I'm with you. I'm a lawyer.
Now, the property is in foreclosure right now.
What's the
You don't
address?
know that.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah. So
What's the address of this
I'm not
place?
telling you that. Are you kidding me?
I can't look it up.
The property. All right. So the grandfather died like 2 years ago, and then the person in charge of it is is it Melissa's uncle?
It's her husband's cousin.
Her husband's cousin, and she went to him, which she tells me in this call. She went to him to ask if her and her husband could buy the property, and he said no, we can never sell it because you know what Grandpa said, there's bodies there. She doesn't know it's in foreclosure either.
What's it worth? What's the state? I mean, have you looked at the city appraisal or the state appraisal?
No, I haven't. The foreclosure is like less than $50,000, but the plaintiff's attorney on it is Sheldon Wind, which is where the signs were dropped off.
What signs?
The signs
The
that
real
Don
estate-
had in the van that he was going to drop off the morning that he disappeared.
The Monday morning when Wendell Williams saw the signs, they were dropped off at Sheldon Wind's office. He just happens to be the attorney for the plaintiff on this property. Maybe just a coincidence.
Yeah, there's a lot of coincidences.
That should have been Carol's name. Coincidence.
You know, I hate when people tell me no. I don't know if you know that yet.
What are you talking about, the address?
Yeah,
Oh,
we'll talk
it's-
about that. I know, it's
No,
fine. It's fine. We got, yeah.
But if you want to go there, let's go.
Let's go.
I want to get the VIN numbers. And, I mean, we can go tonight.
I think we are.
All right.
Like, I don't understand how this all, I mean,
at him. Look,
this
he's
whole,
just like, what
I'm
the-
dumbfounded.
You don't even know how many times I've done this. It's like, okay, what the
It's
hell
all
now?
it's all just overwhelming.
I told you you're going to have your socks knocked off. I mean,
It's
like, yeah, you do.
unbelievable.
Because it's crazy.
I don't, I mean, you know, there's been a lot of, I mean, he's ground up and fed to tigers, so you can't find him. He's under the septic tank, so you can't find him. So I mean, there's other theories out there about where he is, pushed into the, you know, Gulf of Mexico or wherever.
That's what Carol wants us to
And
think.
when you put those out there, I mean,
Yeah.
you want to put them out there so people aren't looking where he actually is.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
and I get that. And I mean, that's easy enough. I mean, what we don't want to do is get it excavated before we have a chance to find out whether it's, I mean, cadaver dogs are kind of unreliable, particularly 23 years later. I don't even know how we begin to find that needle in a haystack. I mean, there's ways to start the process. You don't find a needle if you don't look.
If you worry about the case with the family, we'll get this part
Yeah.
so that we'll see if there's something potentially.
Well, I plan
there.
to do both. I mean, the case against the family. I mean, you open up a murder or manslaughter statute of limitations. There is none.
Right.
Immediately, if I have a death case, a murder case instead of a disappearance case, and then you find it, and people are going to start talking to save their own ass.
Right.
I honestly think that, remember how I said something's going to break somewhere? I think that after all these years, me starting this job, and then working with her,
Yeah.
and then that last name, that last name was just like, man, I'm gonna ask her. I told him, I was like, I work with a girl whose last name is Stitt.
Gassed up. I mean, there's a Justice Mobile right out there.
And we gotta wait till dark.
I know.
But I mean, it's
I didn't even wear the proper attire. I do have boots in the car. I don't.
I mean, do you think she's reliable? I mean, do you think it's even possible?
It doesn't matter if she's reliable. It's better than. It's better than. I mean, it's equally as good as digging up a septic tank.
Maybe better. I mean, she did.
This is.
She said Michael told her.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. There's always going to be a balance a judge is going to do is to determine the harm. You find one body out there, then you're going to open up.
Pandora's box.
Exactly. Pandora's graveyard.
I mean, what if there's 3 or 4 bodies out there?
Pandora's
and
graveyard.
There's a deputy from Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department that knows they're there.
I'll be filing more lawsuits.
I mean, because from what she says, he knows they're there. That's why they can never sell the land.
And nobody can ever live on it.
But if it's in foreclosure, why in the world are they letting it?
I'm just wondering if they're like trying to act like we didn't even know about the property. Like we totally forgot about that place. We don't know anything about bodies, or I don't know.
It was
It's
Granddad's land. He's dead now. He's been dead for 2 years.
At some point, yeah. At some point, people are going to care. But I don't know if that's this point. Especially not this point. If somebody is... I don't know why they're... If we're this deep into conspiracy, I don't know why somebody hasn't shored up the ownership of that property for a long time instead of letting it go potentially through the foreclosure process, if indeed if it is.
It's in foreclosure. It definitely is.
And I mean, you can always buy it out of foreclosure. The question is, generally properties don't go into foreclosure unless they have a mortgage.
Or
I guess
unless it's a tax deed.
But that's a tax sale. It's a tax deed sale. It's not a foreclosure sale.
It's in foreclosure.
I'll look at it tonight. And Kirby crawls that stuff. I bought a house on IRS auction. Okay. I mean, it's one more lead to check out promptly.
Well, I think if we get the VIN numbers,
Yeah.
and then
You know the
find
VIN
out.
number to the Don Lewis, Kenny Farr.
No, but I can look up VIN numbers to get ownership history,
Okay.
and then
reverse it.
yep.
Yeah.
And then find out. I mean, if any of those vehicles, especially the
I mean, you want any information obtained from those vehicles will link to people, which will link to, or not link to
Yes.
people we're worried about or
Yes.
concerned about.
I mean, if that RV is the one that Kenny had, I mean, that's just another coincidence that it was there.
Can I sue the property? You can sue chattel. We'll figure out how to do it we'll get information legally.
Legally, of course.
And the camera probably saw me wink. We'll get information, and then we'll figure it out.
That'll go on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, no, we don't want to do anything to jeopardize the case.
No.
I don't want to do
You know,
anything
a
to
criminal
No.
case or anything. Of
Yeah,
course,
I mean, because the
we'll-
last thing you want is emotion
Because
suppressed
Melissa
once we
will talk,
find out what's
and her
going on.
husband, who is the grandson of the grandfather, is he's a very straightforward person. You know, he seems real nice. I mean, we went to court when we had to go because the guy threatened to kill Melissa
Right.
at work. He was at court with us, and he was. And she said, you know, her and her husband Scott talked about it. She said he's like,
Do you still work with Melissa?
she just stopped working. She got her own facility down south, and she starts Monday. But I have her number and stuff. You have her number, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. She just lives down the road here.
Can we go talk to Melissa?
I don't think yet. I think
Okay.
we need to do some other stuff
Okay.
first because I talked
I
to
want
her.
to put her high up on the list.
Yeah, I think we run the VIN numbers and then there's some other stuff being done. for the property. And then when that, I don't even think we need to talk to her. I think we can find out without, but we definitely at some point.
Yeah, but for my purposes, I need firsthand information. I appreciate all the work you've done. It's magnificent and it's fantastic. But I need a good faith basis.
I know you do.
To go strip search a property.
Yeah, you still have to talk to everybody.
And so she's on the list. Because even if she just reiterates that, it's like, Judge, we need to go check out this property.
Mm-hmm.
And no judge in his right mind, unless he's going to be disqualified from the case, would deny that.
The thing we have to be careful about, though, is alerting.
Where did cadaver dogs go? A different site?
And
To where we used to live at the lake.
where her and Kenny used to live.
Oh, and you mentioned...
Yeah, she had mentioned in the interview that lake property out there, so the cadaver dogs went out there, but that lake has been dredged.
Oh.
There's nothing in it. But we didn't know that till after we finished. But so like the day after that.
Yeah.
Now I posted the videos the next day.
Yeah.
Is that when they did
That's when
it?
she had the baby on Friday.
Because I didn't want to post videos while we were doing it because I was worried the sheriff's department might come out there.
She was there?
No,
No.
she wasn't there. But she told us the location in the interview.
Yeah.
And then the day after, I put a couple of the videos on Facebook I made it appear like we were actually there in real time doing it. And then, so was that the day?
It was the next day.
Okay.
It was on Friday. You guys were out there on Thursday.
The baby was how old at that point?
A day.
So Friday is when I was putting the videos out.
I try to think of the devil's advocate position, and usually you'll hear it coming out of my mouth. Doesn't mean I believe it, but that's something to look into. I mean, that smells of revenge and retaliation
it's quite
and
the
intimidation.
Coincidence of two events that basically she's responsible for giving information for whatever,
Right.
and then, I mean, there's a lot of coincidences in this case. Just one after another,
and
after
it's
another,
just
after
like,
another.
they've got me to the point where I call my daughter 3 times a day. I know they can't do anything to me because I don't do anything.
Right.
And if they did, and I'm not saying that they wouldn't try to set me up because I don't trust them at all.
Yeah.
I do not trust the sheriff's office at all.
I mean, I get it. I do civil rights work, and so I don't. You don't see me make any mistakes anymore because they some police departments will. They'll flat set you up. I mean, and that goes back to some of the unrecovered guns because I still think there's and those could have been throwdown guns or anything. If they went missing or sold or enjoyed or whatever.
Right.
There's so many questions here.
Right. And
when I went and gave my interview again to the sheriff's office, the lieutenant got all offensive when I'm going to record. They got their recorders. I got this one here. No, that's fine. I got mine right here. Oh, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm going to record it too. Why? Well, same reason you're going to. He said, well, if you're going to do that, we can just stop it right now. I'm like, I'm not here for my own good.
Right.
Like, you're doing me a favor.
Listen, bro. Well, shit.
I don't know if there's anything else, but I have the documents, like the property records, the mortgage.
And we'll look at that and
get paid off.
I mean,
It's a lot to take.
It is. I mean, it's just I don't trust anybody involved, present company excluded, and I know the answer to this question, but the family doesn't know any of this, obviously, right?
No.
Okay.
Oh, no.
And so I've got a job to do. I have an obligation to secure evidence and maintain justice. And I don't know even necessarily how to do that. under the confines of these insane,
Crooked-ass people.
insane crooked. I mean, it's
Because you don't know who you can talk to. Who's
correct. But I mean, either way, I think we can gather some evidence that whether it's ever stricken. I'm not saying this stuff on camera. We gather evidence that whether it matters whether we got it or not, or how we got it, as long as we got it legally. That gives us the other information to determine whether this is just another coincidence. I mean, either way, I think you have enough to figure out how to go get the property searched. And there are other ways without getting on the property to search the property, and I know that's going to be done.
Yes.
And so that stuff we can do. I mean, Finley can fly my drone over. I mean, Finley's coming in. I have a drone. I mean, we can do stuff to make determinations. And I want to walk the perimeter of the property immediately. If tonight.
Okay.
And,
I'm down.
And
Take a flashlight, guys.
then figure out. We'll go buy out a store flashlights. I don't care. But I then come Monday, how do I make it all right? And that's the question from the standpoint of we have a pending lawsuit now as of Friday at 4:30. Do I need to adapt it, or can we find out information from our other sources before we dare tip off? Because as soon as anybody gets any information outside of this room, all bets could off, and that body could move again, and we'll never find it again.
Right. Yeah, we can't let that happen.
You get one chance at this property, and it could be a wild goose chase, but if he's there.
Well, when all this stuff shuts off, I'll fill you in. So you don't have to sit here and try to figure out how are we going to do this.
I get it. And there's, I understand. Okay. All right.
All right. I think we're good.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Anything else I've asked the toughest questions I got to ask, but anything else that you think I should know?
Something, if anything pops in my mind, I'll get a hold of you or get a hold of Ripper, and he can let you.
Either way's fine. I don't mind if she has my information.
And I this is as far as in my discussion of any of this goes.
Obviously,
I don't discuss with anybody.
Be very careful. If I got to be careful, you got to be careful, because nobody cares about me right now. Nobody knows who I am. But I'm going to keep you careful. But I and stranger things have happened. More nefarious things have happened in this state.
In this county.
Yeah, in this county. But it just,
Zip it.
Let's find out what we can find out, and if this serendipitous turn of events turned into finding, Don Lewis.
That'd be wonderful.
Oh my God.
It'd be great, because, the family could have some closure.
Yeah, you get a memorial. You get to do things,
The right way.
And justice spelled one way, it's fine many different ways. Finding him is a measure of justice, showing that this false martyr of an ex-wife, of a widow, is just that she was at minimum surrounded by people that buried him, and they claimed he disappeared, is at a bare scintilla, the smallest amount of retribution, but the big hammer of retribution could swiftly follow.
Yeah. Well, if we got him back, that'd be good. Gladys told me last night, I don't care, I just want him back.
Yeah. Well, you damn well might find 4 others with it.
And he brought some friends.
The fact that the property's not sold
you
is...
never know. Look at all the missing people in Hillsborough County. There's a lot of missing people in Hillsborough County. There's a lot of missing people that are, I ain't even going to say, but anyway.
Let's go get
I mean,
some
but it's
VIN numbers.
scrapland. It's scrapland. So I mean, I get the argument. You know, this whole game about the septic system and all that. I get the game of that's going to damage property and
She's
blah
not
blah
putting her
blah.
cats out.
Yeah, but this is right. This is probably classified under property records as some level of wasteland. The only thing bulldozers are going to do is improve this damn thing. If you probably need more of an archaeological approach, obviously, but we need a night view, and then probably to preserve the hell out of track marks and grass and every way in or out, that if anybody drives on that property, you have some level of knowledge and probably surveillance until we can act, because it would be short term. I mean, I can hire a private investigator to figure that out.
Back when Dawn disappeared, the Publix and those subdivisions were not there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Everything is just built up around
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
just built around it.
It's crazy.
They couldn't. I mean, it's got to be worth a pretty penny. The land, or at one time.
At one time,
when they were trying to
then
buy
it
it for
became
the
a pain in the
subdivision.
ass.
Yeah,
And then
but
it's like, well, they didn't sell, so now we've
it's junk.
yeah.
Yeah, at one time it would have
But
been.
yeah, because I remember that Publix and stuff was not there. That was all.
4 acres.
How far away is that from Big Cat Rescue?
Probably about. Well, back then, probably 30 minutes. Now, an hour.
How-
But the lake property, it's only 3 miles at tops.
The lake property in Seffner?
It's a hop, skip, and a jump.
Did you think that the lake property
It plays
is...
a key in it somewhere. I really think Don went there. He's getting ready for Costa Rica. My theory is Don went to the lake property on Friday, getting ready for Costa Rica, leaned down to open that gate. He would have to take the key. It was nothing for Kenny and them to be there, and it would be nothing for them to walk up behind him and shoot him in the head. Nobody around there would call about a gunfire. They hear it all the time. Kenny was out there shooting guns all the time.
So they kill him there and then take him to this
Probably
other
loaded
place.
him into the RV.
So did Kenny have the RV?
The RV was out there. That's why I said I don't remember the RV when it disappeared, but I started thinking about it. When I seen that RV, it was like, click. Oh, damn, the RV. What happened to the RV?
So like all of a sudden the RV was just gone one
Yeah,
day?
and then I didn't even think about it at all until I seen it on that property. I was like, whoa.
That RV is
All right, let's go get the VIN number.
yeah.